Hey, good morning and welcome to the Big Joe and Laura show here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. It's Monday, April 15th. Oh my gosh, Laura, does that mean it's tax day?
I do believe that is, in fact, tax day.
I didn't think I'd make the show go sideways, but sorry.
Why you gotta bring that up so early
Because I'm just
on a
realizing
Monday?
it. I got to check. I hope Lindsay did our taxes.
Well, it's good to know that you have no idea whether or not your taxes have been done. Mine have not, but my husband says he's going to get to it today, so we'll see how that
All
goes.
right, Laura's locked up in a few weeks for tax evasion.
You know
Cool.
what? It wouldn't be the first time.
Well, I'm hoping everybody had a great weekend. Of course, the sun was out. I think I got the first sunburn of the year, which is always awesome.
Heck yeah.
Little farmer's tan. We'd love to know about your weekend. What was the highlight of it? 616-600-0957 or DM in the Mix 95.7 app. Laura, what did you get into?
I did a lot this weekend. Most of it being cleaning the house, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But we got our first round of golf in for, I think it's been almost 2 years since we played, because last summer I ended up being pregnant and it was not really easy to play golf. So we went out we had to go all the way to Lansing to get a
What?
tee time, because there are no tee times anywhere in Grand Rapids, because everybody had the same idea of, oh my God, it's 70, let's go golf. So we went all the way out to Lansing. It was really nice. We got some lunch out there, came back. No, we did not get Raising Cane's.
Darn it, that was the question I was going to ask. I'm like, we had to go to Lansing. Raising Cane's?
Oh, trust me, it was on the list, but we decided to do something slightly different. I'm glad we did. It was good. And then last night, we actually did a double header of concerts. So we went to AJR at the Van Andel Arena, which I've got a slight gripe with someone who was sitting in front of me that we're going to talk about coming up around 7:25. And then we went to see Charles Wesley Godwin, who does some stuff with Zach Bryan, who we play here on the station. And I got to see him over at the intersection. So we did most of AJR, then we ran over to the intersection, did a little of that show, and then kind of went home, and I was out a little late last night, but it was totally worth it.
Oh, look at you being a party animal. Me, I can't stay out past 10 o'clock most nights. I had a great weekend. I think my favorite thing was getting to go out with all my friends. We meet up every year in a certain spot in Grand Rapids, take a bus all the way out to Detroit, and 30 or 40 of us, and we go to the Tigers game. Well, I go to the Tigers game. Most of my friends just go to Detroit and they'll gamble or they'll go to a rooftop bar. I wanted to see the Tigers play, and it was a great game until they lost, I think, 11-5 in extra innings. They just got the snot kicked out of them.
So wait, you guys all ride this bus to Detroit, but you don't do the same activities together?
It's always been a drunk fest, I feel like, among my friends.
No, wait, no. You didn't answer my question.
What?
You guys take a bus to Detroit, but you don't all do the same thing.
No, if I'm going to a baseball game,
yeah,
I want to get there. If the game's at 1:10, I want to be there at 12. I want to have the food. I want to have the atmosphere. I want to see the players warm up that. You're paying for that experience.
Of course.
They're like, woo, we're at a rooftop bar.
Oh, and then they eventually show up at the game late.
I think a good group of the people made it there around the 7th inning.
Wow. What's the point?
I don't know. I had a good time overall. It was fun.
I'd say as long as you had a good time. I guess they eventually made it, but I'm sure they missed a majority of the game.
Yeah, but overall, I was happy. Just like you doing stuff around the house and just having the windows open. And it's going to be another nice day today, too.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the small little victories I honestly need to get me through each day.
Absolutely. So hopefully you're enjoying the weather, and let us know what you got into this weekend. We would love to hear from you again at 616-600-0957.
It's time for Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
Calling Miss Cleo, once a week, a woman from Genesee County goes to buy Michigan lottery tickets. The day she actually won was on a day that she went to a tarot card reading, and she stopped to purchase some of these tickets at a different store than she usually goes to. During her tarot card reading, she was told that she had money coming her way. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's never been in every fortune cookie I've ever had at a Chinese restaurant.
Only for her to scratch those tickets a few hours later and win $500,000.
Wow, that tarot card reader was actually right for once.
That tarot card reader kind of hit the lottery herself.
No kidding.
With her winnings, the lady says she's going to pay off her car, take a cruise, and invest the rest. So good for you, lady.
I noticed that tipping the tarot card reader was not on the list of things, and I feel like it should be.
Do you think the crystal ball has one of those 10, 20, 30%?
All right, this is crazy. I can't believe we're reporting this. Just 3 months after getting married, the Golden Bachelor couple, Jerry and Teresa, have announced that they're getting divorced.
Oh, no.
I know. The pair revealed in a surprise decision in an interview that aired on Good Morning America on Friday.
Teresa and I have had a number of heart-to-heart conversations, and we've looked closely at our situation, our living situation and so forth, and we've kind of come to the conclusion mutually that it's probably time for us to dissolve our marriage.
Get a divorce.
Yes.
Yes.
3 months after getting married.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised anytime any of these couples fall apart, because when did getting married to someone you've known for 2 weeks ever work out for you?
Yeah, and it's hard though too, especially that at older age being that far apart. You can't just easily go and travel and see your kids and your family. I understand that, but I'm just bummed. I was cheering these two on.
I mean, we always wanted it to work out, and here's hoping they find happiness somewhere else.
And your final need to know news story. I don't know if you saw Saturday Night Live over the weekend, but Chris Stapleton was the musical guest on there. And man, he was funny. He joined the cast for a skit called Get That Boy Back. And what it did, it kind of picked fun at country songs and getting revenge on an ex.
Y'all can mess with his truck, I'll destroy his mind. Break into his house, keep replacing his shoes with the same set of shoes, but a half a size bigger every other week. So it's got the boy thinking, are these different or am I shrinking?
I think this might have been one of the funniest things I've seen SNL do in years.
It's absolutely genius. Now I'm going to start doing this with Lindsay and all of her shoes. That's Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
Should you get time off when your loved ones pass away? Hey, it's Big Joe and Laura on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. And I know you're going to think, obviously, yeah, I mean, like if my parents, my grandparents, a sibling, a loved one passes away, obviously workplaces give you bereavement leave. But what about the loved ones in our lives that are a little less than human? I'm talking about pet bereavement leave. American companies are starting to take pause to reflect on the idea of this.
Did you write that or somebody else? Because either way,
it doesn't matter. It's not important. Anyway, 62% of Americans own pets and 97% of us consider them family. So when a pet passes away, should you get time off of work? A lot of people get really upset about it. It's hard to cope. And they're going to be distracted in the workplace. So they say, hey, just give me a day or two off so I can get over the fact that Fido or Fluffy died. I can't handle it. And a lot of people are like, it's your pet, not your grandma, not your sibling, not your parent. You don't get time off. But what do you guys think? You can give us a call at 616-600-0957, or you're always welcome to send us a DM in the Mix 95.7 app. Joe, what do you think? If Benny and Patty were just to kick the bucket this morning, should you get the day off work?
Well, this is going to sound really harsh, actually. But I feel like if you have a goldfish, no, you shouldn't get any time off. You pause for 5 minutes, you find a toilet nearby, and you hit the old flusharoo button.
Listen, this is pet discrimination already.
I'm not done yet. I guess it is actually. But yeah, if it's something like a dog or a cat or kind of a more interactive relationship, kind of an animal, like, I don't think you should get a day off if your hamster dies. But if it's a dog or it's a cat or you got maybe a parrot that you like to have on your shoulder, I should get one just to get all the food off my chest and I make a mess. That'd be great.
You know what? I don't appreciate the disrespect you gave to my pet hamster, Honey Baked Hamster, that I had back in college, because I was very upset when Honey Baked Hamster died.
I'd like to know, as a side note, what happened to Honey Baked Hamster? Exactly how did Honey Baked Hamster.
Yeah,
what happened?
Honey Baked Hamster was just old. I'm going to be really honest. I had Honey
Good
Baked
cover.
Hamster for like 2 or 3 years. Honey Baked Hamster was also adopted, which, by the way, you can't adopt hamsters. Technically, I found a place that someone had given up their hamster, so I adopted this hamster. And I had it for like 2 or 3 years, and eventually it just died of being a hamster and old. And
Yeah,
so,
like if you said, Joe, hey, Honey Baked died, I'm like, I'm sorry, Laura, you ready to do the show?
No, see, it's not fair. I feel like if the pet is important to you, it doesn't matter what kind of animal it is, because some people have a really big attachment to their fish, their birds, their whatever. And I don't think it's fair to say, hey, your pet's not cool enough because it's not a dog or a cat. If your pet bearded dragon dies, I hope you get the day off work, because Roger is dead and you're sad about it. I don't know why I named him Roger, but you know,
Roger the reptile. There you go.
Roger the reptile. So I think that within reason, as long as you're not having like 17 goldfish die and you want 17 days off work, I think occasionally if you need a day to take a moment and pause, especially if you had that pet for a while and you know it's going to just completely derail your day, take the day off. Because let me tell you, my husband, when our dog dies, Tulip, he's going to be inconsolable for weeks. I have no doubt in my mind he will not accomplish anything productive for a minimum of 48 hours when that dog dies. And that's being really generous. I think it'll be a minimum of a week before I get my husband back on the rails after his dog dies. And she means a lot to him. You know, she was there through the pandemic with him when he was really lonely and through some other times in life. And so the dog's really important to him. And so I don't know that I'm going to be that torn up about Tulip the dog. I'll be sad. I'll have a moment, you know, but I don't think I'm going to take the day off of radio for it. But I truly believe my husband absolutely will be completely inconsolable and useless. And you don't want a person like that on the job.
I feel like Laura would try to take a day off, like for bereavement leave. Joe, my pet rock died.
My pet caterpillar turned into a butterfly.
Should there be bereavement for people's animals? I'm kind of in the middle, like where there could be, if it's like a dog or a cat, everything else, no. What do you think? 616-600-0957. Once again, that's 616-600-0957.
We're talking about the idea of bereavement leave for pets specifically.
Like, should your job offer that?
Yeah, like when your dog or your cat dies, should you get time off of work? A lot of people say, hey, I consider them a part of my family. You would let me have the day off if my family died, so why not when my fuzzy family dies? And, you know, you and I disagree. You think only cats and dogs count. I think that every pet should be totally fine. If it is going to ruin your day, take the day off. Life is too short.
Some job in West Michigan is going to have a lady that calls in 8 times in a year because the goldfish died.
You know what? If that goldfish meant a lot to you, take the day off.
Doesn't sound like it if it died 8 times. But
well, they were just different goldfish. Anyway, we got DMs inside the Mix 95.7 app, including one from Jesse and Playwell, who said, absolutely not. It's a pet. If you can't get it together when your dog dies, you probably shouldn't get a pet. A little harsh there, Jesse.
I disagree with that, man. I'll tell you right now, pets sometimes mean more to people than their own family.
Oh, trust me. I think my husband, his dog Tulip, might be more important than all of us combined. So when Tulip dies, it's going to be a rough day around our house. And Kat in Grand Rapids kind of agrees and says, my bosses better assume I'm going to need the month off when my cat Beatrice dies. There's no way they expect me to be productive when my loved one passes away. They wouldn't expect it if a child died. So why should they when my furry child dies?
Did you say the cat's name was Beatrice?
Beatrice, yes.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't even say like that's a cat, I guess.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's your family member.
Yeah, it's like, it's my grandma Beatrice. How dare you?
R.I.P.
It's time for Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
The Grand Rapids Griffins might have lost to the Chicago Wolves on Sunday, but they're back in the playoffs for the first time since 2019. Now, with 6 games left in the season, the Griffins are in the number 2 seed in the Central Division, so that means they've clinched a playoff berth and they're guaranteed a winning record for this season. I'm excited to go to the Van Andel and cheer these guys on.
I think this is awesome. I barely understand hockey, so I'm just there for the vibes. Good luck, Griffins.
Touchdown, yeah!
Yes, get a slam dunk. All right, if you're a Swiftie, this is good news if you like TikTok, because some of Taylor Swift's songs are back on TikTok. And if you're thinking to yourself, how? That's the question most of us have. Her music was removed back in January along with everything from Universal Music Group's catalog, which is over 78,000 songs, just to give you an idea of how many songs are now missing from TikTok. Artists like Drake, Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, all gone. But somehow, Taylor may have reached a separate deal with TikTok because she's been doing the Taylor's versions of things. Everyone's speculating because she records her own versions and owns the rights to her songs that she was able to actually make a separate deal with TikTok in order to get her music back on there just in time for her album to drop this Friday.
All right, I'll have to log in and check out my Taylor talk later. And your final need to know news story, heading down to Indiana where a 30-pound cat named Thicken Nugget is slimming down. He's doing it at Canine Aquatic Center, where normally they help out dogs with these water therapy programs, but he's actually doing it himself, swimming his way thin. In the past 7 weeks, he's already lost 5 pounds. Here's some of the people at the Aquatic Center talking about him.
He tries to protest at first, but he swims so well and he gets out and just walks around like he owns the place, so I think he actually kind of likes it deep down.
Oh, Thicken Nugget, I'm rooting you on, buddy. I know what it's like to gain a couple pounds you didn't mean to along the way.
That is Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
I know this girl didn't mean to ruin my night, but she almost did. Hey, it's Big Joe and Laura here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. Last night, I went to Van Andel Arena to see AJR, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. I absolutely love them. And I was really excited because at the last second, my husband's like, I got on Game Time. The tickets crashed. I was able to upgrade us to floor seats.
Dang.
Yeah, super cool. This band means a lot to me because they're one of those bands that really got me through the pandemic, and a lot of their songs just like hit me in just the right way. Like I cried at this concert. I had such an emotional good time. But there was a girl sitting about 3 rows in front of me. I'm granted on the floor, so you have to remember everybody's on the same level where we're standing. It's not like you're in the sides where everybody's staggered. So about 30 seconds before the concert starts, I noticed that she has a giant piece of paper in her hands. She holds it up, and she's got this sign. And I don't know what the sign said. I couldn't see it. Clearly, she's facing it at the stage and not at me. But her and her mom both held up these giant signs, and the way they were holding them up, they literally blocked the entire view of the stage for me.
Like, was it like a quick, like, raising it up, then putting it down? Like,
No. The concert hadn't started. You know how when the lights go dim and everybody starts to get really excited because you know the opening thing's about to start?
Yeah.
We were at that point. They immediately held up the signs and had them up for a solid 2 minutes probably before the band went out on stage. And right before they were about to go on stage, I noticed somebody from Van Andel Security come over and be like, hey, you have to put those down, whatever. But I was so thankful that man walked over because had he not, they were going to hold those signs the entirety of the show, and I would have completely not seen anything. So I want to know, is it a jerk move to bring a sign to a concert in 2024? I would love to hear your opinions at 616-600-0957. Joe, do you think that it is rude or inconsiderate to be holding up a sign at a concert?
If you're constantly holding it up the entire hour and a half, yeah, I'm probably going to get into an altercation with you. Even if you're a little kid, let's go. Okay, maybe not. I'll throw popcorn at you, though, for real.
There you go.
No, I think bringing a sign is special. Usually it's like when I go to a lot of concerts where there's an emotional song that has a very deep meaning to people, which is a lot of bands or groups. And if you hold up a sign just like when they're between songs talking, like maybe that song's coming up and you're like, hey, I want to come on stage and play with you, or like, hey, you helped me get through breast cancer, or whatever it might be, that's cool. But if you're the whole time holding up your sign, I don't care what it says, then you're crossing the line. But no, if it's between songs or just real quick, I think that's totally fine.
You know, I want to agree with you because I know that you're nice about any time. No, never. There's never a good time for a sign. I get it that you want to tell the band something. It is 2024. We have Twitter. We have Instagram. We have TikTok. Leave a comment on their page. If they want to interact with you, they will. Because I've seen plenty of people be like, oh, I saw you comment on my page. I brought you on stage at the show you were at. Like, there are ways to get a hold of the band to give them your story. The way to do it is not to bring a sign and hold it in front of me so that I completely miss out on the concert, because I want to see the stuff between the songs, especially for a band like AJR. They have a lot of really crazy different theatrics and stuff. So like the in between the songs, they're doing fun stuff. So even then, you are still blocking it and ruining the experience for me. Now, if you're in like the very front, and I mean like on the rails in the front, if you want to hang a sign over the front where you're not holding it up, maybe then I would be okay with it. But like you get like a 1x1 piece of paper. That's it. If you can't get it on your little 10
They're
by 8.
not going to be able to see that.
You know what? I don't care. I can't see the show because of your sign. And at 95% of the time, when do you ever see the band interact with the sign that's being held up? Unless it's someone like Garth Brooks or somebody who specifically goes around the crowd and gives that time, which AJR does technically do, but the only people whose signs they acknowledged were the ones with the teeny tiny signs. So again, I want to know your opinion on this. What do you think? Should they be allowed to have signs at concerts, or is it kind of a jerk move and you're kind of blocking everyone's view?
Now I just want to know the next concert you're going to, where you're sitting, so I can be right ahead of you and just hold up a sign.
Don't you dare. 616-600-0957 or send us a DM in the Mix 95.7 app.
We're Big Joe and Laura on Mix 95.7. And Laura, your concert experience almost got ruined last night.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the old guy on the porch. Get off my lawn!
I swear, if I could get up, I'd do something about this.
I mean, that's really genuinely how I feel. But I'd say that most people would agree with me. Is it a jerk move to bring a sign to a concert? There was a girl in front of me, 2 rows ahead, trying to get the attention of AJR at Van Andel last night. I know her sign was probably important. I'm sure she wanted to get that message out there. but she starts holding it up at the beginning of the concert, blocking the entirety of the stage for me and my floor seat tickets.
I
And
love it too because you just got excited. They're like, we got great tickets for a deal.
I know. And then this woman is holding her. And like, listen, I'm not mad at her for trying to express herself. I'm just mad at how inconsiderate it is that how you express yourself literally is a piece of paper the size of the stage as far as I'm concerned.
She should have cut a hole in the middle of it, like wrote the message around it so you could have seen.
See, if you put a viewing area through your sign, maybe I wouldn't hate it. But I want to know, is this a great idea or not? 616-600-0957. Claude from Grand Rapids, is it a jerk move to have a sign at a concert?
Yeah, I think it's a jerk move. Just because I sat in a Michigan State football game one time, and we were playing Ohio State, and the guy behind me throughout the whole game, OHIO! I mean, nonstop. I was ready to turn around and stick a boot in that guy's mouth. I mean, it just, that was rude because you couldn't enjoy it, and that'd be the same way with a sign. How are you going to enjoy something like that and people being that rude? I mean, be considerate. You're in a crowd. You're either at a concert or a game. Have a little respect. Think about other people. You wouldn't want them doing it to you, so.
Claude, I think you and Laura should plan out where you're going to go to your next show together so you can both be happy.
Listen, if Claude, if you're sitting in front of me, you would be my favorite person in the whole arena because at least you wouldn't be blocking my view.
I would definitely say something to them people or throw something on them, that's for sure. Not anything dangerous, but like Joe said, popcorn or something, you know, I'd have to disrupt it.
Correct energy, Claude. Thank you for calling in this morning. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And I hope you have a great rest of your morning.
Okay?
Bye.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Do you agree with Laura and Claude or you agree with me, Big Joe? Bring that sign. DM us right now inside the Mix 95.7 app.
It's time to play Laura Can't Lose on Mix 95.7. Here's how it happens. Laura leaves the room, and we all enjoy the silence for a little bit, and you'll have 1 minute to answer 5 questions. You can pass if you need to, and we'll come back if time allows. A tie goes to Laura because, well, her name's on the show. Here's who's playing Laura Can't Lose today.
Representing Grand Rapids, we've got Kayla on the line.
Good morning, Kayla. How are you?
I'm good.
Heck yeah. Well, you got your chance to win $45 with the Michigan Lottery scratch-off tickets. If you beat me today for Laura Can't Lose, we'll see how you do.
Now, Kayla, what do you do for a living?
I'm a stagehand.
A what?
A stagehand, like I set up concerts and tear them down.
That sounds awesome. I'm way too hungry. I thought you said steak hand. I'm like, how do you get that job?
Like, how do I get to help with the steaks? No, stagehand's actually a really cool job. I've done that before in the past.
All right, Kayla, let's get this game going. Go ahead and tell Laura to get on out.
All right, get out.
Okay, when that door closes, question number 1 will start. He was one of the first European explorers to reach China. Here's a hint. There's a fun game people like to play in the water with his name.
Marco Polo?
Question 2. How many times do you have to say Beetlejuice's name for him to appear?
3 times.
Question 3. What city in Michigan is home to the world's largest Christmas store?
Frankenmuth.
Question number 4. This reality TV show follows the lives of affluent married women in different cities across America.
The Real Housewives.
Question number 5. When a team's on defense in baseball, how many players do they have on the field?
9 or 10.
Which one are you going with?
9.
Okay, I'm going to bring Laura in.
Laura! La, 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 Laura!
All right, well, Laura's coming in here. How did you get into being a stagehand? Like, that sounds like a fun job.
Honestly, I started by being a custodian at the Van Andel Arena and DeVos Place, and I just got into union.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So cool. That seems like, I bet you get to see a lot of, have you ever run into any like famous people doing that job, or do you kind of do all of it before they get there?
Yeah, so like when I'm backstage after the show, sometimes I'll catch a glimpse, like the Jonas Brothers walk right past me, and Carlos from Big Time Rush looked at me in my eyes and said thank you. So that was cool because I grew up.
I think he said thank you, Kayla. He said like, Kayla, thank you.
Kayla, thank you. I would have immediately thrown up. That's so cool.
Laura,
Yeah.
Not only does Kayla have a cool experience, she also went 5 for 5.
Oh no, so I'm in trouble. All right, let's see if I can keep up.
Question number 1. He was one of the first European explorers to reach China. Hint, his name is also a fun game people like to play in the water.
Marco Polo.
That is correct. 1-1 going into question 2. How many times do you have to say Beetlejuice's name for him to appear?
I'm not going to say it that many times, but it is 3. I don't want that kind of chaos on a Monday morning.
Correct. Tie game going into question number 3. What city in Michigan is home to the world's largest Christmas store?
Frankenmuth. I only know this because my husband keeps threatening to take me there.
Well, you haven't been?
No, I'm not a big Christmas person, so I think he thinks it would be funny to drag me there and make me suffer.
You'll fall in love with it. All right. 3-3 going into question 4. This reality TV show follows the lives of affluent married women in different cities across America.
The Real Housewives of insert blank city here.
Yeah, I'll take that. The Real Housewives franchise. Yep. Yeah. All right. 4-4 going into the question. You get this. We have a tie, and then we'll have Kayla play on Tuesday, or you get it wrong and she gets that money.
All right. Let's see what happens.
When a team's on defense in baseball, how many players are on the field? So not like how many actual players go out there when the other team's batting.
Okay, wait. I'm going to count. 1,
do whatever you need to do.
3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to say 8.
8 players. Okay. I throw sports questions in there sometimes to see if Laura has a shot or not, and today would be one of those where she doesn't.
You blew it! Oh, you're so dumb. For real.
It was actually 9.
Oh, I missed somebody when I was counting. No, I'm sorry, shortstop. I didn't mean it.
Oh, come on, Laura. Kayla, congratulations in Grand Rapids. You won Laura Can't Lose today, and you got yourself $45 in Michigan Lottery scratch-off tickets.
Congrats, Kayla.
Yay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, you want to be like Kayla? We're going to play Laura Can't Lose tomorrow and restart that jackpot. Go ahead and get in now. 616-600-0957.
Sometimes you want to make people feel better about themselves, and sometimes you go, they're a little young. Hey, we're Big Joe and Laura on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix, and she wants to know, is she in the wrong for using self-tanning lotion on her daughter?
Boy.
Yeah, she wrote in and said, summer's just around the corner, and it's finally getting warm and nice here in West Michigan. My daughter and I have been spending a lot of time outside lately with warm weather, and I've been covering her from head to toe with sunblock. I explained to her that we do it to protect her skin, but she always says that she's jealous of mommy's tan. So over the weekend, I got some of my self-tanner on and put it on her to cheer her up. And when my husband got home and saw it, he told me I had lost my mind. He shared that he feels like it's sending the wrong message to my 10-year-old daughter because he feels like she shouldn't be focusing on her appearance on such a young age. Was I wrong to give my little girl a little confidence with the self-tanner, or is it sending the wrong message? We would love to hear from you, especially if you're a girl mom. 616-600-0957.
Laura, I don't see what the big deal is if this mom actually puts some tanner or whatever it is on her daughter. Now, if she's taking her like tan mom to an actual tanning bed, then we'd have a problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, how can you say that this is a problem or let the kid be the kid, but we all let the kids use the phone, Snapchat, different filters? Let me tell you, I've seen, gotta be careful. I've seen some people I know post photos of themselves with their kids, and I'm like, that's a little bit of Photoshop there. Like, that ain't right. So you're already altering things. What's the big deal with putting a little tanner on them?
See, that's the problem, is you shouldn't be doing any of those things, and it shouldn't be like, let's open the floodgates more. No, little girls already feel bad enough about themselves. They're on social media, they're seeing things, they're wearing makeup and dressing a little more scandalously, much younger than they used to, even when we were that young. Like, I can't imagine wearing as much makeup, anyone from our generation wearing as much makeup as some of these kids do now, especially when they're in that 12 to 14-year-old range. Like, they can do a full face of makeup better than I can in my mid-30s. So, I understand that self-confidence is important. Be yourself, wear what you want to wear. But there's a certain amount of, there's a pressure we're putting on children that they don't need to have on them. And the pressure to be tan and pretty and fit and all of this is so silly. You're 10 years old. You should be worrying about what's on, KET or whatever, PBS or whatever, versus what's going on in your social media. No, you shouldn't be putting filters on your kids. No, they shouldn't be wearing makeup before they're a teenager. No, they shouldn't be worried about this. And if they're asking these questions, maybe it's time we step back and said, hey, why don't you be a kid? Why don't you go outside and play? Why don't you have some toy time? Why don't you play some video games? Whatever. But we're focusing on the wrong thing. The self-tanner, while I understand can be a confidence builder, I think it only just reinforces that you're not good enough the way you are, so let's modify you. And I don't feel like that's the answer.
Okay, but what about when parents or kids, for this example, modify their hair? That's a form of expression. That's cool.
Yeah,
it makes them feel better about
I
themselves.
think that modifying your hair color is a little bit different because I don't feel like that's saying that, like, you know, you're not attractive enough, because no one makes their hair purple to be more attractive. They make their hair purple because it's fun and they want their hair to be purple. I've had purple hair. I've considered repurpling my hair very frequently lately because I have blonde hair again, and that's always tempting. But I just don't think that 10-year-olds should be worrying about self-tanner. And I think this mom needs to step back and say, hey, listen, when you're a little older, let's have this conversation, but it is not appropriate for you right now.
616-600-0957. Was she wrong to give her daughter a little confidence with that self-tanner? It's Big Joe and Laura here on Mix 95.7. What's wrong with looking good when you're going to be outside? You don't want to be pale and pasty. Hey, we're Big Joe and Laura here on Mix 95.7.
What about if you're a 10-year-old girl? That's the question today. This woman asked, hey, is it okay that I use self-tanner on my daughter? She asked about my tan skin. I didn't want to give her an actual tan, obviously. And so she puts it on her daughter. Husband comes home and goes, you're out of your mind. I cannot believe you've put tanner on our child. What are you doing? What a bad example you've set. And she wants to know, am I actually setting a bad example, or is my husband overreacting? We always love to hear from you. You can give us a call at 616-600-0957. Angie in Wyoming, do you think it's okay that this mom used self-tanner on her daughter?
Listening to what the mom sent in from you guys, it sounded more like this wasn't necessarily for like confidence for the daughter, but that she is inspired by her mom and her mom's looks because she thinks her mom is pretty. So she just wants to look a little bit more like her mom. So if you want to go the route of like, okay, you want to frame it appropriately, like, okay, yeah, it's good to be inspired by someone and good to, like, especially like your mom and want to look like mom, but for your health and safety, like, you should definitely wear the sunscreen. And the self-tanner, I would make sure, like, what's in it before I put it on my daughter. But I understand where the mom's coming from, that she just wanted to help her daughter feel a little bit better about herself because she wants to look like mom, and it's not necessarily in the eye of public.
So you think that because it's like mom inspired versus like, hey, I saw Kylie Jenner wearing this, so it's a little bit more of an acceptable situation?
A little bit, but again, it could also be like, okay, maybe mom should be wearing more sunscreen to help her daughter feel better.
Well, you can wear sunscreen and also put on self-tanner, can't you? Not at the same time, but you can self-tan at home, and then when you go out on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think maybe that's a good way to look at it. But, I agree with you, Angie, that like trying to be like mom is so cool. But I just worry that she's getting the wrong example of what makes mom cool. Like maybe instead of wanting to self-tan, maybe we find clothing that looks the same, or maybe we try to find activities that mom likes to do. Like if mom likes to cook, let's learn how to cook, or let's have toys that are cooking related or something like that. But I feel like focusing on that beauty thing, it seems like such a slippery slope. I worry about this little girl already digging into her own confidence before she even has a chance to understand it.
Nope, I totally understand. Redirection is a very great parental tool.
Angie from Wyoming, thank you for the advice and calling in.
No kidding. Thank you. Have a great rest of your morning.
Thanks, you too.
It is the Big Joe and Laura show here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. And this conversation is still going about, hey, is it okay to put tanner on your kid?
Yeah, we want to hear from you at 616-600-0957.
That's 616-600-0957.
Tracy in Ionia, what do you think about this mom using self-tanner on her daughter?
I think it's gotten way blown out of proportion. It was a one-time incident. She only did it because she wanted to be like her mom. And if you ever go to a junior high dance, you would totally change your mind because the dresses have gotten so short, the makeup has gotten so thick, and all she wanted to do was have a little bit of a tan that was not harmful to her skin, and it was a one-time thing, and I think it got blown way out of proportion.
Tracy, I'm with you on this one, and you know what I was thinking too? I have nieces. Hadley is, I think, 7. I think if she'd like to, maybe we could get her some self-tanner.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that big a deal. You see kids with purple hair, green hair, red hair. It's just another way of showing their personality a little bit. It wasn't like it was done Have you ever seen the beauty queens, the little girls that are there?
Oh, see, and
I think it's gone too far.
That's way too far. And that's what I worry that this goes towards. Because like you said, the dresses are getting shorter, the makeup's getting thicker. I feel like this is the first step towards going towards that. And I feel like that's the wrong direction we're sending our kids right now. And I'm thankful I have a son that this isn't really a thing I have to worry about. But if he were to decide to wear makeup or any of that stuff, I'm absolutely not before 13. I wasn't allowed to. And I think it made me a much more centered, reasonable human being because I wasn't allowed to.
I don't agree with that. I wasn't allowed to wear anything until I was 15. She's not turning her into something. She's just letting her experiment a little bit. The little girl, now she doesn't like it. I think if you start telling these kids absolutely no, and you have to be what everybody wants, they're going to actually try it more. If you just say, let's try it. Okay, what do you think? Okay, well, we're not going to do it right now, but you know what? You did it, and what did you think?